It's Thursday, April 10th, 2025. This is the Hermetic Hour. I'm your host, Poke Runyon, and tonight we present an essay on the laws of old, the channeled credo of ancient Atlantis, inscribed on the pillars in the temple of the Order of the Temple of Astarte. These arcane precepts were channeled by Frater Thabion during his Holy Guardian Angel retreat in 1984 and are in Enochian, which is alleged to have been the language of Old Atlantis. These ancient moral principles are all positive assertions, thou shalt, rather than thou shalt not, as in the Ten Commandments. They were first revealed in our film Beyond Lemuria 2007 and published in the booklet that accompanies the film and delivered by our own very honored Frater Memnonides as the Master Phylos in the movie, which is still available in a 2014 second edition at pokerunyon.com. Our essay goes on to discuss the revelation of the laws to the Holy Grail tradition and their origins in Plato's philosophy. This is the first time we have made mention of the laws on the Hermetic Hour, and so students of our work and philosophy should give this episode special attention. The laws of old are called the laws of Atlantis, are inscribed on serpents, coiled about the pillars in the temple of the Ordo Templi Astartes. The laws are written in Enochian, a spiritual language channeled by Hermetic magicians in 16th century England. The laws themselves were channeled during Frater Ayud's April 1984 Holy Guardian Angel retreat, received on the 12th path of the magician and the planet Mercury, on the Tree of Life, and in English, and they were later translated into Enochian by Ayud, now Thabion, and rendered on a 10-sided pillar and then on the temple pillars themselves. The laws follow the lightning flash down the Tree of Life and reflect its symbolism. They are positive assertions rather than prohibitions. They are thou shalts, in contrast to the prohibitive thou shalt nots of the Ten Commandments. Coming down the tree, they read as follows: Kether, serve the all-powerful one. In Enochian, Abo Aperi Yadon La. Hokmah, honor wisdom. Iaidek Saniel, Bina, increase understanding. Kauziora Oma, Hased, govern with mercy. Tabore Rita, Gebura, guard the truth. Barsang Baoan, Tippereth, sing the praises of beauty. O Krime de Turbza, Netzach, be thou stewards of the earth. Bolpa Barzang di Kazago, Hod, protect knowledge. Blaziadna and Yesod, conquer your passions. Arpage Madrid and Malkuth, comfort the fallen. Bilorax Korstadobix. Now a study of the laws of old will be a study of the Tree of Life, and a wonderful introduction to modern and ancient Hermetic philosophy. And in this particular case, its most important ritual program, the Holy Guardian Angel Retreat. This is usually referred to as the Abramelin ritual after the late medieval grimoire, The Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage. But there is a problem with the version of this ritual as it's come down to us. There are 3 Holy Guardian Angels, not 1. This is a complicated procedure, so bear with me while I explain it. If you read the origin of the HGA concept in the Hermetic texts, you'll discover the 3 daemons, angels, and their characteristics. The first is your link to God, who stays with you through all your incarnations. He, she, because God is androgynous, is associated with the sign of your ascendant for each lifetime. Now the remaining 2, active in the present incarnation, are of the planet ruling your ascendant, who defines your personality, and the second is that of the planet itself, which influences your profession. Now this complex calculation was too much for most aspirants because until recent times, only the wealthy and the powerful knew the precise moment of their birth. But if you do know it, then you should do all 3. And our first OTA grimoire, the Sloan 2731 Lemegeton, had the formulas for the whole complete ritual complete. So we adopted the original form and used it for our 3rd degree weekend retreat. Perhaps receiving the laws of old was a vindication of the extended form. On checking my retreat diary, I note that I received the laws on the 12th path, the path of the Magus and the planet Mercury, and Mercury is in my ascendant. Further research and vision led me to discover the link to the Holy Guardian Angel to the tradition of the Holy Grail, as revealed in the medieval epic Parsifal, enabling us to reprise and renew our angelic contacts made during the 3rd degree retreat in the 6th and 7th degrees of our revived Krater initiatory system. Now, as inspiring as all this may seem, I would not want to pass off synchronicities as supernatural revelations. The laws of old certainly have precedent. Back in 1981, 4 years before my retreat, I began a study of Albert Pike's 28th degree, Knight of the Sun or Prince Adept. This degree is no longer presented in its original form. I hear echoes from the old 28th in the laws of old, not word for word, just echoes. Perhaps I heard them when I was in retreat. But then, as Socrates said, we learn nothing, we just remember. The laws of old harkens to a widely held 19th century belief in a primitive golden age when all men, and presumably all of their women, worshipped one supreme deity which animated all of nature. This was in fact a glamorization of the truth. The most primitive religions were, and still are, animistic. The cult of Mana and Tapu. Recall that Romantic Age European visitors to the South Pacific considered it paradise. How often has Tahiti been fictionalized model for paradise, as it was in our film Beyond Lemuria? Mystic visionaries envisioned this golden age, primitive spiritual idealism as the prehistoric enlightened religion of a high-tech ancient civilization. In most cases, monistic animism evolves into paganism, which gives way to dualistic monotheism, which harkens back to the monistic paradise of this original golden age. Now, the laws of old could have been the morality for such a paradise, but man, being the perverse creature that he is, would have enacted taboos on all the good things of life, like wild pigs, breadfruit, and macadamia nuts, making the lives of their fellows acceptably miserable, taking us back to square one. Now, the plain fact is that technically evolved human civilizations are inherently amoral and even self-destructive, a description that we might easily apply to Rome at the beginning of the Common Era. The laws of old were never old. They are no older than the late Romanticism of the Victorian era and born out of its resentment against the rise of democratic capitalism and commercialism. And yet, the fact is that the laws are modern does not discredit them. They are valid as Kabbalistic principles and moral precepts. They are also Christian. They express what is right and good in each path and sphere to which they are assigned. If they seem politically liberal, then they are certainly the best of that proposition, and we should accept them. Unlike the Ten Commandments, they cannot be imposed from without. They must arise from within, as the Master Phylos reveals in our film Beyond Lemuria. Consequently, we are forced to admit that the laws of old are against human nature. These same mystic visionaries despised the Industrial Revolution, which had given birth to modern technology, environmental pollution, the military-industrial complex, predatory banking, and all of civilization's ills, which the modern visionaries believed their dream of socialism would cure. But they had forgotten an all-important fact in the formulas of human evolution: survival of the fittest. And the wisdom of that old hillbilly devil in Hatfield, them that has gets. Socialism and its darker brother communism go back to Plato, the inspiration behind most of Western spiritual and political philosophy, including our own Hermetism and Gnosticism. Plato was a Pythagorean mystic, and he was the co-founder of Western philosophy with his more rational colleague Aristotle. Plato envisioned a utopia in which philosopher kings, an elite ruling class of intellectuals, would govern society. His republic became the inspiration for 18th and 19th century socialism. The problem with socialism was that it was against human nature. Human efforts must be rewarded. They can never be coerced or compelled. As a system, socialism simply doesn't work because it must be imposed by its darker counterpart, communism, which was and always is synonymous with tyranny and evil. One can easily imagine what a hell our society would be if our laws of old were imposed upon us by a secret police force. They must arise from within. Only then, and only thus, can their goodness and their value be justified and achieved. They are the credo of chivalry, the knighthood of the Grail family. And what is chivalry, I ask? It is the sacred marriage of pagan honor and Christian charity, an amalgam which might also define Hermetic Kabbalah. Now, as knights and dames of the Holy Grail, we might meditate upon the laws of old and come to have more compassion and understanding for our unenlightened brothers and sisters who seem so irrational in their extreme political beliefs. And as old Rodney King said, "Boy, can't we all just get along?" Well, that concludes the essay, and next week we'll have more Rosicrucian and Hermetic secrets for you, so tune in again, and until then, good magic.